What is up, Team Happy and Fit? Happy Saturday. I don't think we've ever done a call at 9:30, 11:30, 12:30 before on a Saturday, so it's super special. We are doing a lunch and learn from some incredible people. We met up a few days ago, and I got off the call smiling. A lot of these coaches and people are my friends that they've been in my life for a while, and they just make my life better. And I just was so happy that they chose to still be here, because it's so much bigger than fitness and nutrition when you decide to lean in and you build friendships and you work on your mindset. I don't know if you saw that post about doing a before and after. Reading Emily's, I was just like, this is why we're here. Like, she's breaking down walls other than just doing a program. You know what I'm saying? Did you see Nikki's post? It was so good. Amber, your post, like just reading these where I'm just like, this is so powerful. We are here for such a bigger reason other than fitness and nutrition. It's supported by that, but there's just so much growth. And it just gives me goosebumps. Yay, Bridget, I'm gonna for sure check that out. It is just so good to see the new faces. It is so awesome to see the old faces. And if you've been off the grid for a little bit, welcome back. Like, it's sometimes we make it a lot more challenging in our minds that it's going to be this like huge astronomical problem or weirdness. It's not. It's just so good to have you here, because that's just how it is. We're going to get started with lunch and learn. Get a pen and paper. It's going to go in the order of Emily, Anya, Turner. Let's go there, and then we'll get started. Go ahead, Emily.
Scott's in the back room, so I tell him to be quiet. Don't yell at the kids. Okay, so I'll just jump right in. Last year, I qualified myself. I qualified myself to be a leader. I hit Diamond and Success Club so that I could go to Philly for the Diamond Retreat. And I did that in a matter of months because I knew I wanted to go on that adventure and to meet so many of you guys that were also there. But the question is, when you don't feel qualified, how do you qualify yourself? And so I have a few bullet points here. So number one, you have to realize that you are capable of magical things. Two, you have to walk the walk so you can talk the talk. I am a classic know-it-all, I'll admit that. So I love being a leader and sharing my knowledge with others, but I'm not credible if I'm not also putting in the work. Three, figure out what role you want on this team and go for it. Four, stop comparing yourself. Words can be hard for me, and my biggest hangups always were, I don't talk like her. I don't know what to say. And then I realized, good, talk like you, be you. And it changed drastically for me. 5, there are no shortcuts or secrets. Top coaches share all their gems with us, and they just put in the work more consistently. 6, turn your butts into ands. For example, but I don't have enough time. Turn that into, and I don't have much time, so what do I need to do now to be most productive? And that's what I got for you guys.
So good. I'm going to recap that. That was so good. How to qualify yourself. You have to realize you're capable of magical things. I love that. So true. Number 2, walk the walk so you can talk the talk. Basically, get your own results. Have your own transformation. It doesn't have to be physical, but it has to be something, right? Build your story. That wasn't a point. That was just the walk, right? Know what role you want. That's so good. What role do you want? Are you just saying you want a role, or like, do you really want it? Then you'll start making actions accordingly, right? Emily's like, I want to be there. So she started doing that. Stop the comparison. That's number 4. Stop the comparison. Your voice is your voice. You don't have to talk like her, look like her, right? Have the same story as her. In fact, it's better that you don't. There's no shortcuts or secrets. That's 5. And then I love this one, number 6, turn buts into ands. So good, Emily. All right, Anya.
Hello. I just want to say Hudson's probably going to be making all sorts of noises, so I apologize in advance. But so I have been a coach for a little over 2 years, and I kind of dabbled here and there. But then as soon as I had Hudson in November, literally we were still in the hospital, and I looked at my husband and I said, I'm not going back to work. I am not going back. There's no way. So I knew that this opportunity was going to allow me to do that. So I leaned into this team more than ever. I originally started because I wanted a discount. I wanted accountability. I was going to be getting married in a few months, and I wanted to lose weight because I was that girl that bought my dress too small to make sure that I would work hard to try to fit into my dress. So I originally started with that, and I just kept seeing personal development everywhere on Team Happy and Fit. Podcasts, books, people talking about it, and I was just like, what is this all about? Because honestly, I never heard of personal development beforehand. So I asked like what someone's favorite book was, and I think when I started, like the hot book was You're a Badass. And so I got that book right away, ordered it off of Amazon. And if you know me, like I am not a reader. I hate reading. I do not like it at all, but I could not put this book down. And once I read that book, and I read it in a weekend, my mind totally shifted, and it was such a game changer for me that personal development was such a staple throughout my journey, even back before that. I knew that it was going to change the game for me. So after that, I just kept on reading, kept on listening to podcasts, and looking back on my journey now and just reflecting, I didn't realize how much of a difference personal development really truly makes. Sure, it's easy to see the physical results because it's tangible. You're able to see it. You're able to look at pictures, see the difference. But when you really dig deep and look back on how you were feeling, or how you treated people, or how your relationships were, it's such a shift. Like I always think to myself, like I was so insecure. I didn't have any confidence, and it's crazy just to think how far I've come, and too that your past does not define who you are now or where you can go. And so I think that really truly leaning into personal development and just making that mind shift is such a game changer that really, yeah, you want to lose weight or whatever it might be, but the personal development totally goes hand in hand with it, because yeah, you could be whatever size you want to be, but what does that really truly mean if you don't have the confidence and the love for yourself that you do really truly deserve?
That is so good. And I think it's so true, where it's like, why are people still here after they lose weight? There's just something different in the mindset. There's so much weight for us to lose in our minds. Like there's so many chains and so many limiting beliefs that honestly I didn't even know I had until personal development. I didn't know I had a weird relationship with money. I just thought it was always limited. I just thought that was normal. And then in personal development, I realized that it's limitless, or it's abundant, and it's not evil. It's, if you use it for good, then it's actually a resource to be able to help other people. Like it just was like, I didn't think that was for someone like me. I just thought it was for someone who just had a higher education than me, and that was just false. And so super good. In the comments, what is your go-to personal development? And I even like to say, like, it's like mindset development, right? What is your mindset development? What is a go-to favorite? Go ahead and put those in the comments. Let's go ahead and go with Turner. Good job, Anya.
All right. So that's actually kind of funny that Anya went before me and maybe purposely did that. But I am talking about how to course correct when things get hard. And course correcting was something I never knew how to do until I started doing personal development. Because before, my mindset was, okay, if I fall off track, I'm in a downward spiral, and that's just what's going to happen. But through growth and personal development, I learned that you don't have to downward spiral. You can just get back up. So super crazy. But what I do when I course correct, I have been a coach for almost 4 years, which is absolutely insane to me to think about. And I've gone through all the seasons. Like, I started as a student in college. We just graduated. We've gone through a few different moves. Like, it's been crazy. And there's been a lot of course correcting in terms of like, okay, now the season's changing. What do I need to do? Where do I need to be spending my energy and my time? So I just actually recently had to do this last week, and which is why I wanted to talk about it. So when I need to course correct, the first thing I'm asking myself is, how am I tracking? How am I tracking my vital behaviors? How am I tracking my workouts? How am I tracking my business in general? Because if I'm not tracking, I feel really lost and really scatterbrained. So always going back, I literally, when we moved, was unpacking things and found a stack of trackers I had printed and just never used. And I was like, okay, going back to it. So I grabbed them and I started using them. But find a tracker that works for you. And it doesn't need to be perfect. If you're a perfectionist or if you're a recovering perfectionist, like, that's something you need to realize too, is it's not always going to be perfect. But the things you missed the day before, do the next day. Second thing, are you fitting in? This is a question you can ask yourself. Are you fitting in the things that matter? And this was a gut check I had to have. I felt like I was working from home. So realistically, I had more time, but I was feeling like the time was slipping away quicker. And I didn't really know why that was. And it's because my priorities weren't in check. So I looked at how I wanted my day to look, and I wanted to be able to come home, make dinner, hang out with Nate, my fiance, and then get on a call and go to bed. And that left no time for business stuff, to be honest. And that was something I wasn't willing to give up. So that's my next point. What are you willing and unwilling to give up? And from there, when I realized I wasn't willing to give up my nights with Nate, because that was our time together, I told myself, I'm going to be a damn adult and stop telling myself that 5 a.m. is too early, and I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. and I'm going to get to work. So I did that this last week, and I felt amazing because I made myself a promise and I was able to get all of my stuff done right away. So maybe it's changing your schedule. And if you know me, for the last 4 years, I never got up at 5 a.m. ever. I literally texted Danielle Wood and was like, okay, I'm getting up at 5 because I need to be a damn adult and stop telling myself this BS excuse that 5 a.m. is too early. Going into my next point, ultimately what's bothering you, point it back at yourself and see what you can do to get through it. Because if it's not the problem that's actually the issue, it's yourself and the way you're looking at the problem. So that's probably the biggest thing you need to course correct is your mindset. And then lastly, if let's say like your team or your results aren't doing what you want them to do, or I don't know, like crickets, things like that, things we've all experienced, are you showing up? Are you like eliminating the crickets yourself? Are you having fun? If your challenge groups aren't fun, are you having fun? If your challengers aren't getting results, are you getting results? And are you showing them you're getting results? I just had this conversation with my coaches. Do people know that they can get results too, or are they just watching you get results? So there's a few different aspects. I didn't want it to be only business focused because I think you can course correct in all areas of your life, but those are the biggest things that I've implemented this last week, and it's been amazing.
So proud of you, and I love that it's like recent too, where you're like,
Yeah.
This is how I feel. I tried it out. It's good. And I also just think like winging life doesn't always feel good. You know what I mean? When you're just kind of like, and I just think too, like for all of you who go into your jobs, are you just like thinking about getting the work done, or are you getting the work done? Like it's like kind of a non-negotiable, right? And so with your journey, kind of look at it like that. Sometimes we make it maybe instead of a non-negotiable, but when you make it a non-negotiable, you feel better in your own self-care. And you feel better instead of just saying you want more choices, that you're actually being disciplined to do the work to get you there. And so Turner, it's so cool to hear that, and hashtag be a damn adult. Like, that's what I wrote down. So really, really good. Lacey, go ahead and take it away.
Hey y'all, so live from the truck cab. We have a bull sale going on right now, so I'm like, I gotta go run out to the truck quick. But I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about how to get buy-in and influence your family, your spouse, your significant other. I know a lot of us, when we start, you're starting for health and wellness typically, not necessarily the business. And I know you've all heard it, like, oh, another salad. I'm not doing that. I'm not giving up. Guys, I'm married to the meat and potatoes man himself. His entire life is making beef. So it's what it is. But what I started doing to kind of get his into it is you start making the small swaps and you celebrate the little wins as massive wins. When we started, kind of like Turner, nighttime is the only time we see each other. We're passing ships most days. And to be on Zoom calls is really hard for me. We calving cows, running chores, whatever it may be. But when I make the time to do it, I'm sacrificing time with him and I'm sacrificing time on the farm. So when my first paycheck came in, it was like $35. You would have thought we won the lottery. Like, I celebrated $35 like we were in big money. And celebrating those small victories got him to kind of catch on. And so we started swapping things. I would add a vegetable to supper. You don't have to eat it. Put cheese on it. I don't care. It's there. He will admit that he survived a year on ranch and cheese. But I'm sitting in his truck cab right now. There is at least 8 of these Beach Bar wrappers floating around in here because he took a whole box this week. And there are sticks of Energize everywhere. So celebrate the tiny things. Don't focus on it being, we're going to get healthy. We're going to do it this way. Celebrate how you feel. Like, man, I had so much more energy. I didn't even want to go to bed at 9. I could have stayed up later, or I got up earlier. And that's been huge for us to get him to kind of roll with it. And on the other hand, I wanted to talk a little business tip, and I want to talk how to brand. I know a lot of you think, how do I make this my own? How do I find my niche? If you don't know me, you've probably seen the Cattle and Cardio. It's a cow with the barbells. I've branded it so hard that it is now our farm logo. So it's getting put on a brand, and we're going to have heifers running around with the barbells on them coming up next spring, which is pretty exciting. But that was part of the buy-in with him, that this is what life is from now on. I'm bringing cattle into it. I'm speaking to other farmers. I'm speaking to other ranchers that want to know, how do you live healthy? But I'm not giving up hamburger. I'm not giving up steak. I'm not giving up pork chops. We're linking it in, and we're making this a full lifestyle. And for us, we went down to NCBA this year, and I have to laugh. I told the team this week, I've never introduced myself as a Beachbody coach. I've been an analyst or a rancher for my entire life. And when people would ask what I did, my husband introduced me as, she does online wellness. She's a Beachbody coach. Like, he went from telling me when I started working out that I would use a treadmill for a laundry dryer to introducing me as a coach. And I've got plenty of people who now are with me because their husbands buy cattle from us. So my biggest advice is, whatever your life is, if it's T-ball, like your family's big into baseball and big into T-ball, lean into that. Link how fitness fits into what you already love. If it's Boy Scouts, you can blend that. Talk to those people where you feel confident and you feel fluent in the language. I'm fluent in EPDs and cattle numbers way more than I used to be in workouts and nutrition. But if you can talk to those people about the same thing, your confidence will come out and it's going to link it together. So I guess, sum it all up. It's just live the whole with your whole heart.
So good. And have you ever seen Son-in-Law, the movie?
Yes.
That's me. So because I literally think I've called you a farmer before, and I just learned something new that that's wrong, and you're a rancher. And I'm like, I love this community because we are all so different. Like, you should see where I live, and I would love for you to come visit. But two, like, can I come visit? And I think it would just make your day. Like, I really just think Eric and I there with you, like, tell us what to do, and we like we'll figure it out and do it. But anyway, that's what I came, and then I did write down a lot of notes, and it is share, show, go, and grow. If you want to influence people, you've got to share, you've got to show it that you've already done it and you're doing it, and you have got to just go and keep growing. The more you share and show as you keep going and growing, people are going to want to come with you when you can share and show with them that they can come too. Lacey, not only has that transformed other people's lives, that's your relationship. How empowering is that you two can be such a stronghold together in health and wellness and your lifestyle in all the ways, and him be so proud of you and what you're doing is like the biggest transformation in your business. Like, that is so rad. I am so proud to know you. I just want to say that. And all the things you say, I'm like, I just want to watch what you do and be a fly on the wall because it's so cool. All right, go ahead, Lauren.
All right, I will keep this short, but I just wanted to share a quick story. I know that I just presented on Tuesday, and I had the time of my life sharing. And what's so crazy about that is if I were to check in on the number scale from Saturday chat that morning, I probably would have rated myself a 3 or a 4. I literally almost texted Julianne and be like, I'm not in the right mindset to share tonight. I'm at a low in my business. I'm frustrated. Some things happened and I just felt anxious. And I was like, what things could I share with the team? And I was like, you know what? Sometimes it's hard. I'm going to share that because I'm not someone who, if something bad happens, like I will pick myself up out of it. And the reason for that, one, is the team, because when you lean in, it just changes everything. I wholeheartedly believe that what I needed on Tuesday was to lean in, and somehow it worked that I was actually leading a call, but it's what my heart needed. And I think really it's so easy when you're in a funk or something really hard is happening in life. It's really easy to be like, you know what, I'm not in the right mindset for this. I'm just going to take myself out of the team equation. I'm going to go deal with this myself in my own way. But I'm telling you right now, hard times will happen. And the best thing you can do is immerse yourself, surround yourself, be present, be part of the team. Tell people how you're feeling, because the people here are going to find a way to, one, relate to you and tell you it's okay and valid for you to feel the way you're feeling. But two, they're not going to let you stay there, because I know that you don't want to stay there either. So just going forward, remind yourself that no matter what happens, do not take yourself out of the team. Show up on the team call, show up in the team page, text someone on a message thread, something. Get yourself back in the team somehow.
I just don't think that the people who do this by themselves have the most gain in this. Like, I think it's because of the friendships and just the fact that you almost texted me but didn't and leaned in. I feel like you conquered so much with that. And there's just so many times where women, like Morgan Schaefer was just talking about mom life, and we're all like, yep, like, we got you. Yeah, I'm sure that was hard, whatever it is, but like, we're there. Like, we've been there, we're there, and like, we're here to help you or support you. And Lauren too, if you guys know Lauren's journey over these last 5 years, this community has showed up for her. But I also want to say she has shown up for the community. Like, it hasn't just been one or the other. It's everybody's in everybody's court. But the only way to do that is to lean in. Lauren, I love you so much. Take it away, Nikki. Nikki and I met in an airport because I was standing in the wrong line. So, fun fact about Nikki and I.
And I love that I get to follow up with Lauren because I'm talking about the team too. I'm talking about tapping into the team, and actually it's really fun for me to talk about this because the team aspect has become totally my favorite part of coaching. And if you've seen me post about my story or shared before, oh my God, sorry. I didn't originally join for the team aspect. I was kind of just in my own lane. I was really addicted to exercise and in a really bad spot in that way with my health and fitness. I joined because I wanted a discount on Shakeology because I thought it was a magic shake that would make me skinny, and that was my only thing that I cared about. What I ended up falling in love with was the team aspect. And if you don't know, I was on a different team for years before I joined this, and then like Julianne said, I met her in the airport, and I was a fly on the wall kind of in Team Happy and Fit, and it just became like something I just knew I needed to be a part of. It was something that, like, when I thought about Team Beachbody, this is exactly what I pictured. I wanted to be part of a family of super supportive, encouraging women, and it's exactly what it was. And it's only grown so much in that way in just the last few years that I've been a part of this crew with all of you. So my big thing, obviously I work my own business hours and try to grow in my own way, but I actually encourage people to take time out during your power hour or just at least a couple times a week to get into the team pages and purposely go in and comment on people. When coaches are adding people into the team pages and saying, will you help me welcome my new friend? Like, I love going and making sure that every single person is welcomed, that they feel the love of joining the team, and just making sure that when people post something in the team pages that they're getting some feedback and some love in there, because I think that's the biggest thing that we can offer is our community and just uplifting each other and, I don't know, just making people feel loved. So I make that part of my kind of work, I guess, during the week, is just getting in the page and commenting and encouraging.
You do such a good job of that. And I think if there's anything about Nikki is that she notices. Like she also notices when someone hasn't been around for a while. Like she's just like, where are you? And she's so good about that. And so I hear about those kind of conversations that you'll not only do public welcomes and public comments, is that you send a lot of messages to other teammates to one, check in, or if they had something happen in their life, good or hard, that you are there and you're so intentional about that. And it makes sense how you do that, is that you're intentional with working that into your week instead of just like, oh shoot, and it's not sporadic, but it's something that you're not winging, being intentional. And I really love that and admire that so much. Kim Meyer.
Hey friends, Nikki is such a blessing. Well, you're all blessings, but she just sent me a message the other day and made me cry. So thank you, Nikki, for being so special. Okay, I'm going to talk about, there's really two roadblocks that keep people from moving forward in life. And I'm going to apply it to life, but also coaching. But there's two roadblocks that stop everybody at some point. One of them is overwhelm, which is a choice. You hear us say that all the time. One of them is overwhelm, and the second one is discouragement. One, overwhelm, like you, especially in coaching, like I feel like I don't know what to post. I don't know what content to do. I don't know where to start. If you're in your journey, like, oh my goodness, this program seems so long, this whatever, like I don't think this, whatever. Okay, so that's one, overwhelm. But remember, that's a choice. Always choose again. I'm a huge Gabby Bernstein fan, and her method is always choose again. I'm choosing to feel negative right now. I'm going to choose again and choose love. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, I'm going to choose to feel prepared. Instead of whatever, I choose again, right? The second one is discouragement. And like that one it's a lot one. It's a big one because like, you know, it can feel sometimes like what you're doing isn't working. Like, you know, the funny memes where like, I did 10 sit-ups, where are my abs? Like it feels like we should have those like instant gratification things, right? But when it really comes down to kind of things like Julianne talked this morning on Sat Chat, like all the little things add up to big things. So don't get discouraged over the things that you feel like are not working. Yes, Daniel, the inches, or the ghosting or the no's. Like you can't control what other people do, but you can control your actions and your thoughts and your mind, right? And so instead of like getting really focused on what everyone else is doing, pull yourself together and think about what are the things that I can do differently. Well, instead of feeling overwhelmed, I can find some personal development. Instead of being discouraged, I can go take some more action. So the two things that hold people back are overwhelm and discouragement. But the two things that get them out of that are personal development and taking action. Even when you don't feel like you're going to get anywhere. Like when I feel the most discouraged in my business, the way I get out of it is I go send 10 invites. Or the way I get out of it is I go push play. Or the way I get out of it is to pick up a book, right? And so like taking action is the only way to get unstuck. Otherwise you're just going to stay there and sink. So start moving forward. That's what I got for you.
I love the like, but I choose this. Like I can choose either or. And sometimes our brains have gotten so good at and first of all, where is the benefit of choosing discouragement? Like, how does that help your heart, your mind? It literally only produces not good things. And it's that choice of like, but I would rather choose something healthier for me. Like, I would rather choose something more positive for me, because at the end of the day, like, that's way better than not feeling that way and just taking that action. So good. Oh, I love that. Lindsay is up next. So Lauren and Lindsay are sisters. I want to say that, Lauren, is that how you went Emerald? Was with Lindsay? That's what I thought.
Lindsay was the first one, and then the next month I signed up Caleb.
So halfway. So how cool is that to be like, I want, that reminds me of the Delgado, like Christina Delgado and her sister. I just think it's really cool that you had Lindsay do this. And because of that, Kim said yes. And then because of that, like other people said yes. Like it just like, it goes. And so that's really, really cool. Lindsay!
Hey. Okay, so I'm super excited to share kind of like a different transformation story of sorts. So if you saw the title when Julian shared kind of what we're talking about, mine is called When Dreams Change. So it sounds super magical, right? Okay, so I am excited to talk about my life, my journey as a coach, and my unique perspective of when I initially joined the team. It was purely because I had amazing results from PIO. And I think I was 9 months postpartum, second kiddo. And I was just like, I was blown away. And I'm like, I have to share this with all the people, all the moms, make sure they take care of themselves. But I had zero interest in doing this full time, not at all, or owning my own business. Like, I just wanted to share and I try really hard. Like, I've tried really, really hard every month since I started. I've hosted challenge groups every month, but I had no intention of making this a full-time business. So, but I've always been a wellness advocate, and my love for health helped me take my career path, and I worked in a hospital laboratory. So it took my skills of problem solving, wanting to help people on their, with their health, but making it so I was more behind the scenes because I'm 100% introvert, and nursing would not, frontline stuff would not be my jam. So, but I not only worked in the lab, I also ran our clinical internship program that trained students to become laboratory staff members. And I found my people. Like all the other program directors, they're scattered all over the country, and I could only see them a couple times a year, but they were my people, my instructors that helped us teach the students. They were my best friends. And like, it got to a point where I started to actually travel and review other programs. Once our program we made some major changes, and then I was able to travel and like inspect other programs across the country. And my goal at some point in time was to make it to like the big review board and be like one of the people that makes the standards for all the programs in the country. Like big goal. I love my job, and it was so awesome. And it was about 5 years into my career when I became a coach. And little did I know, by continuing to share my journey, inviting others to join me and showing up as much as I would come in handy. Like I said, I continued to host challenge groups, even though I had a very busy schedule, working full, 50, 60 hours a week, and then having a family. And I actually was a little defensive about it when people talked about like, going all in with coaching and, quitting your full-time job. And I'm like, this is my favorite. This is my life right here. Like, don't talk to me about that. Insert foot and mouth, because we'll get there in a minute. Okay, so fast forward 9 years of my lab career, and 2 of our major labs in our community merged. And so my position changed from being the program director of like the students to actually having more management responsibilities. And so I had staff reporting to me. I took call stretches. We did it for a week, our call stretches for 24 hours for 7 days. So your life was that phone on your hip, and you managed call-ins, you managed staffing issues. Like, it was fun at first, but then it wasn't fun after a while. And so I started to get to this point where I'm like, the lab was changing and I was required to change with it. And my work-life balance went to crap. My life revolved around the lab, and I wasn't a nice person. My family, my relationship with the instructors, who were my very best friends at work, because, you know, we worked very closely together. Those are really strained, because for those of you who've never really been in middle management before, you get to that point where you can't be super transparent sometimes. There's things that you're making decisions and you can't share those things. I built my relationship with my instructors on being very open and transparent, and I couldn't do that anymore. And for those of you who've done the Enneagram, most of you probably have, I'm an 8 primarily. And so, right, I hate it when people beat around the bush. I am a very honest person. And so I literally felt like my soul was like burning. I'm like, I just felt like I was trapped in a box, and I felt, it just didn't feel right to me anymore. And so I kept trying to figure out a way to get out of this box. I love rules, I love standards, but I love creativity within kind of rules. And I felt like I couldn't be creative anymore. I had to fit this mold, and it just didn't fit with me. But yet at the same time, I knew if I transitioned, that mean I would give up my dream. Like, if I could go back and just be the program director, I would do it in a heartbeat, but that wasn't an option. Don't worry, I asked. It was not an option. So I had to make a change. So one day it hit me. Take a look at your goals and your priorities. I had always dreamed of being a career woman, working hard, helping people, having fun, having the opportunity to be creative, and being successful and being happy. So when you look back at all those things that I wanted, coaching also gave me that option. And it was just a little thing back in the background that I never knew 5.5 years later would give me the freedom to, when the time was right, for me to move. And it took a lot of, like, I fought it hard, let me tell you, Reagan, because I felt I was really hard on myself, because I felt like I couldn't hack it as a manager, and all these other people were doing just fine around me. And I'm just like, why can't I handle this? And did I waste my college education, and da-da-da-da-da. And it really, the PD was so helpful in all this, because I had to come to terms with the fact, like, it wasn't a failure, it was just a part of my path. And so I'm sitting here in a place 5.5 years ago I swore I would never be in. And I'm a test away, once hopefully testing centers open back up, to becoming a personal trainer and taking that level of helping people to a whole new level. I'm staying at home with my kids during this pandemic, something I swore I would also never do. And I'm actually enjoying every day of it, except for a few days here and there, but all you parents get it. And I'm sitting here at peace, happy, inspired, and most of all grateful I was asked to be a part of this, because you just never know. And so my message is, be open-minded to what may happen when your dreams might change. So.
Oh my gosh. Like, it's just fun because I've watched your whole journey and I remember all of this. And I just will never forget when you decided to do this and go in. And I think too, it's like a pride thing too, where it's like, I did all this stuff, but you have been so happy with all of this. But you said something to me. You said that you get to see your kids go off to school and you get to be there right when they're done. And that's something you'll never forget. Like, that's just something that you wanted to be there for. And I think also, seasons change, people change. You've also massively outgrown a lot of what education can do, right? Like, there's like only like there's caps and things like that, but it's like you didn't cap your growth, and you didn't cap your potential, and you didn't cap your dreams, and you didn't cap all this stuff. And it's okay to adjust and look back and be like, that's part of my past. And it helped me get to this place, or it helped me do this. And it's just really cool to see you enjoying and seeing, like, oh, Lindsay, that literally like brought tears to my eyes, because I'm just so excited for you and proud of you. And the fact that it's like, it's okay that they change. Some of you maybe said you wanted to do this full time, and then now you don't. That's okay too. And I think where it's like, it's just the more choices. Are you happy with what you're doing? Are you living purposeful? Do you have passion? Right? Are you aligning with the people? Is your family getting the best of you or the least of you? right? It sounded like when Lindsay was saying is her family was getting the least of her, and that's not what she wanted. She wanted her family, like, that's an Untamed, where we teach people that the least of them is when they come home, and that's when they're exhausted to play with the kids. That's when they're exhausted to do all the things, and that's opposite. It should be like, that is where we're the most energetic, the most alive, like the most fulfilled, right? Like being with our main people. Oh, so good, Lindsay. I'm so proud of you. And thanks for sharing that boldly, because I don't know if I've ever heard you do a call. And by the way, to 87 people on our team. So that's pretty awesome. Liz, fun fact about Liz and I, we met randomly at a coffee shop, didn't tell our fiancés at the time, and we didn't answer cell phones. And so they're like, where are you? Like, you're with a stranger. This is weird. And I hosted a fit club in my classroom. By the way, I didn't ask for permission at the school, just did it. And just like, someone will tell me not to do it if I'm not supposed to. And I threw it up on Facebook. Like, if I'm going to work out, I might as well. And she came. And then we developed a relationship. Go ahead, Liz.
Yeah, totally. I love that story. And I just want to pause really quick and just, aren't these leaders doing an amazing job of sharing their stories and sharing their journeys? Like, I just want to pause in that for a moment, because I know when I was on the call the other day with the leaders trying to plan content, I'm like, what do I even say right now? I feel like I am in a season where I'm like, what do I even contribute? There are so many amazing leaders on this team that are doing amazing things, and I look up to them. And I definitely am in a season right now that is a lot more calm and quiet and peaceful, and I'm not right now being a loud leader, or I'm not all over social media every single day. And sometimes comparison just creeps in, and I don't know if anyone relates to that, but comparison definitely has creeped in a little bit, in the sense of, you know, what do I bring, or what could I share on this call? And whenever I feel comparison creep in, I always go back to my vision board that I wrote when I started this journey. And that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about today. So I want you to write down this question: what do I want from this opportunity? And to give you a little piece of my vision statement, when I wrote this almost 5 years ago now, I still go back to the same exact vision statement that I wrote 5 years ago. I wrote these underneath that question. I wrote these comments. It said, when I look into my future, I see, and my people are. I'll say those one more time. I wrote, when I look into my future, I see, and my people are. And under when I look into my future, I see, I didn't write, it's crazy because I did not write any accolades. It wasn't like I set out to be a 6-figure earner. It wasn't I set out to be 10-star and above diamond coach. It wasn't anything that my coach is doing, their coach is doing, anything I saw on a summit stage. And I had to remind myself that they were things like waking up to a kiss in an undistracted devotion time with my husband every morning. And I'm gonna start getting emotional. Grocery carts full each month with nourishing choices paid for in cash. Because when I started coaching, I remember that we were so poor. I definitely shouldn't have said yes to this opportunity. I was newly married, and I remember worrying that I could only spend $99.87 because I had $99.88 in my card. And I was so worried that I'd be pushing things down the aisle and I wouldn't be able to afford them when I got to the checkout. So I wrote this vision statement, and it had a ton of things. And I read this one this last week when I was trying to plan content for you. And this is really what stuck. And it might seem simple to you, but for me, it's everything. I wrote, I will own a home that feels warm and safe and smells of brewed coffee and candles. Those were the things that I wanted. That was my vision when I started as a coach. And sometimes I feel like comparison can win, and it does in my life. And I see all these amazing leaders that I started with. I was one of Julian's first diamond coaches, and I've been in this journey for 5 years now. And I'm like, why am I not hitting these goals? And could I be doing more? Of course. Could I be putting in more hours? Could I be doing more? Yes. But my season of life right now is so full of joy. And I know that's what Julianne just touched on. She's like, it can be whatever you want it to be. And I want to encourage the people who might not be people who have these like crazy accolade goals. And that's okay. Those are some of the goals that I set out for. And I'm in a season right now. When I think about my life, I am filled with so much joy. I am filled with so much calm. And I'm filled with so much gratitude. And I'm literally living out the vision that I set out to do as a coach 5 years ago. And I had to stop myself as I was wrestling with these doubts and fears and insecurities of my own and realize like I'm literally living it. And could I do more? Yes. Is there going to be a season that I could do more? Oh yeah. Like I am pumped. Like I talk to Baxter about it all the time. I'm so pumped for the moment where I can put in more hours and do more and like let my creativity just like explode. But right now I have for those of you who don't know, I have a 3-year-old, crazy, full of energy boy, and I have a 1-year-old also equally following in brother's footsteps. And they're pulling on me at all hours of the day, wrestling over me. And I love the moments that I'm able to share with them. And I'm so plugged into that right now. I'm super intentional still with my coaches, with reaching out to them, with encouraging them, with checking in on them. I'm super intentional still with my challengers and anybody that I still have that I have a responsibility to. But I'm not in a season of pushing and hustling and doing more, and that's okay. And I'm a mom. My husband just switched careers. He's now a pastor, family life pastor at a church. And with this pandemic, people are literally losing their minds. So his hours are longer and they're doing crazy things at church. And I'm involved in multiple ministries. And so I don't want to be long-winded, but I just want to encourage the person who is maybe wondering like, hey, I don't want to do all these things, or maybe I thought I did want to do all these things, and now I'm just trying to like sink into what's best for me. Like wherever you are at, whatever you are doing, it's enough. And this team has definitely been a catalyst for me. I'm so thankful, even though I might not be all over the pages right now, I'm so thankful for this opportunity and for all of you. And this can be whatever you want it to be. So just stay in your lane. You're doing great.
Thanks for that. That's so good. And that definitely spoke to a lot of people. And I think that's just like the biggest thing is that I feel like this team is that we're just doing life. And then you get to decide what that looks like for you and living more fulfilled, because at the end of the day, it's never going to be enough within this community and outside of this community, outside of just Beachbody, because Beachbody too is like, sure, like ranks and accolades and all those things, but even outside of life, it's like people living certain ways, like the pressures of work and all the stuff. And it's just making that decision of like, what does fulfillment look like for me if everything was ripped away? Would you be happy? Someone messaged me, not on our team, about this like huge income thing. And part of me thought that created an identity for them, or what's the word, just like not position, just like just acknowledgement, like wanting this acknowledgement for this. And that's what I said. If this was all ripped away, would it be enough? Because at the end of the day, if you cannot enjoy and live right now, it will never be enough. But what is so cool about the fulfillment now is that when you continue to just show up in your life of choosing what Kim was saying, right? Like, how can I choose to be more calm, choose to be more patient, choose to be more loving, and work on myself through that? Goals are great. But that's such a good message, Liz, of just like, right now, take a look in your life. Like, is it fulfilling? And if it's not, maybe that's what this community is here for you, to remind you of like, what does a happy, fulfilled life look like? And this team can be a catalyst for that. And it's so not about this like relentless, like we would never want you to get to a place and be unfulfilled and not happy, because at the end of the day, it's never enough. Your weight loss results. Some people had a huge crash after 80-day obsession because they put so much into those 80 days when it launched. And then when they were done, they got into a funk because of that expectation of that result at the end. But it's just this process of who we're developing into. And then lastly, I just think that there's no pace in this thing. Like Liz has been with me for so long in this, but the best part is that we're just committed to like living healthier and happier. And I just feel like there's lessons along the way. And at the end of the day, that's the most important, right? Is that we just like trust this journey and there's no arrival, not a rank, not a paycheck, and not a certain amount of likes. And I just think that where the direction of the team is going and this like, listen, we're here to be this community together. Let's just work on life together, right? All right, Kristen.
Hey guys. Okay, so I want to preface this by my topic is how to thrive during the pandemic. And I want to preface that by saying that it doesn't mean that every moment in your day is going to be a thriving day. If you have struggles, that's totally normal. And I would expect it. Like, expect that you're going to have days that have struggles, but that doesn't mean that you can't still thrive through this pandemic. I'm actually going to share just a quick lesson that I've already shared with my team this week that I learned through some PD that I was doing, and it is about building habits and creating focus that's going to help you thrive through this pandemic. There are 13 points, just to give you a heads up. And the first one is to lean into your faith. And that's because faith is revealed in crisis. And I've got to say, like, I am so thankful that I already built the habit of my daily devotions. But if you haven't yet, I recommend you find a good one. 100 Days to Brave is one of my favorite ones. I love the First 5 app. Anything like that. Build your faith during this time. Lean into it. The second one is build a daily routine and stick to it. And why you want to do this even during things like going chaotic is that if you have a routine, it is going to create normalcy in your life. It's going to create momentum and stability. So it may not mean that every single day is going to look the same, but just knowing that you have some sort of routine. It means that when you go to bed at night, you have checked off those things on your routine. Number 3, and most of us are really good at this one, but move your body daily at least 30 minutes. So get your workout in. If you have a rest day, find some other way to move your body. Go for a walk. Go play soccer with your kids. Go play catch. I don't care. Find a way. Move your body. If you're stuck at the computer for umpteen hours a day, set your timer and get up, go to the bathroom, do 10 push-ups. I don't care. Find a way to move your body 30 minutes a day. It's just one of those habits that's a domino habit for other good habits in your life. Number 4, guard media consumption. First of all, news is a business. They are going to put stuff out there that are going to make you keep coming back to them. So be cognizant of that they are a business and they want you to keep coming back. And so they're going to put stuff out there that's going to keep you coming back. So look at the facts, but don't spend your time, hours on something that is just going to give you story after story after story. Look at the facts, keep it at that. And just guard your media consumption. And also, the other reason you want to do that is because worry is a waste of time. It is not going to serve you in any single way. You cannot prevent anything that is going to happen in the future. And so concerning yourself with what's going to happen in the future is a waste of your time. Be present. Take care of the present. Number 5, daily gratitude practice. The more you look for gratitude, the more you see. If you haven't already, I encourage you, start a gratitude journal. I just got a new one this week, but before that, I had just been using my notebook and I've been writing down 3 things daily that I am so thankful for. It could be that your kids woke up after you instead of before you. It could be that you got to see the sunrise. It could be that you got to eat your meal while it was still hot. Whatever it is, find 3 things that you're grateful for every day. Number 6, dress the way you want to feel. I have been practicing this one for the last few weeks. And what that means is that after I get my workout in, I get a shower in. I do not wash my hair every day. That's too much time. But I wash my face and I wash my body. And then I get dressed and I do my makeup. Dress how you want to feel. P.S. Not washing my hair, that was a thing way before the pandemic. Number 7, stay connected to others. And I think like this is a perfect example of that. Just staying connected to others. Get creative in ways that you can stay connected to your community. We can't get together physically today, but we're still getting together virtually. Not only is it just good to see other faces, but when you are continuing to stay connected to others, you are going to have help in working through your struggles. Number 8, eat right and drink water. Fuel yourself correctly, because not only is it going to make you not have that bloat, but it's also going to increase your energy. It's going to help you sleep better. It's going to give you a better mood, literally. So fuel your body appropriately and just be conscious about how you want to feel, not just look, but how you want to feel and how you want to thrive by nourishing your body correctly. Number 9, give a lot of grace to other people and to yourself. We are all in this together. Assume that we are doing our best. Number 10, get a go-to. Okay, so this could be like a song that pumps you up. I remember for the longest time that Julianne's was Unstoppable by Sia, and she would play that at like the beginning of Stat Chat for like months on end, and it was awesome. Maybe it's a meme that makes you always bust out laughing. Maybe it's a friend that you can talk to and you know it's going to be like a mood booster for your day. Maybe it's a community page that you're plugging into. Maybe it's just that first sip of Energize. Whatever it is, get your go-to that's going to change your mood as soon as it happens. Number 11, protect yourself. And what I mean by this is that fight for yourself. Fight for your sleep. Fight for your self-care. Fight for your alone time. Ooh, let that one sink in. We are quarantined right now, but I feel like when we're quarantined right now, it's almost, if you have family in your house, it's almost harder to get alone time. You need that alone time. You need that. Like, I don't care if you go spend 15 minutes with your back against your bedroom door and your kids are screaming on the other side. Find that alone time. Because you can't pour from an empty cup and you need that alone time to refuel. Number 12, focus on what you can control. Your effort and your attitude. You can control those two things. Your effort in your life, like just like how much effort that you're putting into your workouts or how much effort you're putting into tutoring those kids online, how much effort you're putting into helping your own kids with their homeschooling now, how much effort you're putting into your business, how much effort you're putting into your marriage. You can control those things and you can control your attitude about it. Just like Kim said, if your first emotion isn't a good one, choose it again. You can control how organized you're being in your own home right now. Just like Liz Turner said, get a tracker. You can control that organization. Control what you fill your mind with. Instead of just binge watching Netflix all day, take some time and read a book that's going to fill your mind with something beneficial. Control your connections and just do something that's going to help you find a sense of accomplishment. And I know for a lot of us, making your bed right away in the morning, that starts your day off with a sense of accomplishment right off the bat. And then the last point I have for you is focus on joy. Find it every day. Even if you're having a really rough day, find something that has brought you joy that day. And If you haven't had anything that's brought you joy that day, or you can't think of it, go back to your go-to. Go do that go-to and find your joy in it, because joy, my friends, is a choice. And you are the only one that gets to make that choice. Focus on joy. That's all I got for you.
So
That's how you're going to thrive.
How to thrive through the pandemic. Those 13 points could help so much of your friendships and community by just sharing those. Thank you so much, Kristen. We appreciate that. I'm so excited for Morgan Schaefer to present. It is just really cool to see how a business not only can impact someone physically and emotionally and all the things, but knowing that she just had Able and she's built her business for the last few years and is able to contribute to their family income. She's going to be talking about dreaming bigger. She was someone who told me no for a long time, 2 years. And here she is dreaming bigger than ever, having so much fun with her crew and developing herself daily. Morgan Schaefer, you're up.
Thank you for that intro. Yeah, I'm Morgan. I'm not Adam. I'm using my husband's Zoom. But thumbs up if you guys can hear me all right. Okay, great. I'm just excited to get to share with you guys a little bit more about dreaming big in this business and also in your life. I think that Liz Colburn said so beautifully that it's really important to check yourself and like know what season of life you're in, and maybe my story is not going to relate to you at the same level as Liz's, where it's like what are you really looking for in life? But I also want to be that voice to the person who is dreaming bigger with this, to like know that it's okay to dream big and to go after it. And I just hope I can encourage you in that way. So really, I just kind of want to share with you like what my life looked like before becoming a coach, because that really plays into why I became a coach in the first place and why I thought it could really work well for my family and the goals that we had long term. So right after I graduated from college, I got married to my husband Adam. So we've been married for 5 years already, which is crazy. And we moved immediately to Asia. Literally a week after we got married, we moved to Asia. We worked there as missionaries and also teachers, and our life was just really blessed in so many ways by living there. Like these things are kind of crazy that I'm going to share with you, but we had like free rent, we had free food, we had a stipend given to us by our school where they literally said like, hey, here's some money to go travel our country, like enjoy. And we also had a ton of free time. We only taught for 3 hours a day. So it was like dream job, dream life. And it was just such a blessing at that time as newlyweds to not have that financial pressure to like, I know it sounds like I got all these freebies, but like to experience so much freedom and flexibility in our life was just huge. And especially for me being somebody who had always struggled with financial anxiety and just like literally counting pennies, like, can I afford this? Do I need this? Do I really want this? Like always having that, just, you know, that yucky feeling that maybe some of you can relate to, like even spending like $2, like it was such a big deal to me. So having that freedom and flexibility was just, it was such a big blessing. And it's just, okay, so we lived in Asia for just over 2 years. And at that time, I was following Julianne and following her journey of losing weight, but then also creating those extra freedoms in life, like the freedoms that I was kind of experiencing in China. So I thought, dang, when we move back to America, I need to bring this lifestyle back. Like, how can I bring this lifestyle back to America? And I really think that what she's doing and what she has going on is going to be that thing for us. The freedom, the flexibility, less financial pressure. And I just knew that coming back and being a teacher, like long term, wasn't going to do that. And my husband is still pursuing his degree and his passion, which is great. But still, like that income that potentially he'll have too in the future is just, it's not there, if that makes sense. And it's really just kind of hard to explain, like the feeling that I had. Like it's just always hard to like put feelings like into words, but I just had so much belief like deep down in my core, like that gut feeling, even before I became a coach. Like I hadn't tried the products or the programs or anything. Like I wasn't concerned about losing weight because like Julianne had done it, so I could do it. I wasn't concerned about how I was going to make an income. She did it, so I knew that I could do it. And it's just hard to share like that gut feeling that I knew I wanted more out of life. And I knew that coaching I just knew it was going to be that thing. Like, I don't even know if that makes sense, but you have that feeling and you just know. And I guess the thing when I got started then was just being willing to give it time. I was willing to give it a year. I was willing to give it 5 years, 10 years. Like, I'm not making quitting an option, and I never did. Like, no matter, like, I get coach cancellations all the time. People quit. I have setbacks in my business. I'm not as far along as I want to be. Like, all the things, but like, I'm never going to quit. Like, I'm literally saying that to you, I will never quit this. And I think that's really what it takes if you want to have bigger dreams and bigger goals, like long term, because I'm definitely not living the dream life like whatsoever, but I am allowed to bring in that income for my family and be able to stay home with my 3-month-old. And it's just amazing. So I guess I just knew that going into this and wanting to be a part of it long term would always bring me closer to the things that I wanted out of life versus just like working a normal job. And I just kind of feel like I also have to say that, like, obviously our team is not like in this for the money, like whatsoever. That's not our tribe. Yet I'm sitting here talking about like financial freedom and things that I'm going after, because I just want you to know that it's okay to dream big, because it's not really about having the money or having all the things. It's about what that money can do for you. It's about having more opportunity. It's about having more adventure in life. The ability to give more to your church, to your friends, your families, people who are in need, and just to really spend more time with the people that you love. I think time with family members and friends is probably the most important thing to me. And I just really think that when you're able to take out the factor of money, like when money isn't a factor of whether or not you can do something, I think that's a really beautiful thing. And it really allows us to just do more in life, and also to pay that forward. So I want you guys, obviously not right now, but when we get off this call or later today, I just want to encourage you to sit down and think about what could bigger dreams look like in your life. And I just want to share with you some of mine. So the first one is buying my husband a truck. He talks about wanting a truck every single day. We are really big into like hunting and camping and just outdoorsy things, and he wants a truck so bad, and I really want my Beachbody income to be able to pay for him to have a truck. The next one, this one is a new one since I've had my son, being able to say yes to him whenever, like whatever he wants to do as he's growing up. My mom worked really hard when I was younger to be able to pay for me to be on a travel league for basketball. And I really just want to be able to give my son those experiences, whether it be music or sports or just like whatever he wants to do, like play hockey. Like, I don't know, that's super expensive. Like, I just want to be able to say yes and let him have those opportunities to grow. The third one is paying for my husband and father-in-law to go on a big game hunting trip out west. Those are like thousands of dollars to go do those huge hunts. I don't know if we have any hunters on here, but I would love to pay for my husband and father-in-law to do that. And like one of the biggest ones that I'm like super nervous to say, because I know this is recorded, is that I want to have a team retreat in Napa Valley. And I can't believe I'm saying that out loud because that's like huge, but I recently discovered that like my entire downline loves wine, and we've been doing a wine down Wednesday, and I just think this would be so fun. Like, it's gonna happen someday. I'm super excited. I'm like nervous saying that. So those are just some of my goals, and you know, like Liz said, it's just about what do you want out of this for your own life. I'm just like someone who's like going all in, pushing all the time. I want that for my coaches who want that as well. But just think about what you really want out of this, and celebrate the small things. I love that Lacey shared that she was so excited for her $35 paycheck, because I literally wrote down that I wanted to share how excited I was when I got $30 on my first paycheck. And I went to Walmart and bought a humidifier, and I didn't feel financial anxiety about it. A humidifier, like most people have those, but I was like, I wouldn't buy it because I didn't need it, you know, even though I needed it because it's dry. Anyways, so just celebrate those small things, and also work towards creating the life that you want to live and the life that you love. So I guess the last thing I just want to say is aside from having those dreams and goals, like it's all great, but you got to be willing to put the work in and stay consistent and be in this long term, because that's really what's going to get you to those goals. And I know that it'll happen for you. So thanks for listening. I was so nervous to talk on here.
Okay, funny thing, Morgan finally, after 2 years, was like, fine, I'll do it. No, I'm not going to do it. And I'm like, well, what's the one thing holding you back? That's the question I asked her. And she's like, I don't want to speak on one of those calls you do. And I was like, you don't have to. And then here she is, like, telling us her dreams. It's so cool. And, like, first of all, that gives me all the feels. And two, like, I think we've been conditioned in society that, first of all, guys don't feel bad about making money. I just want to throw that out there, that they think that that is their, like, contribution. And for some reason in society, mostly, it's been conditioned to think that money is bad for women, like, and success and wanting more choices for family. And I just don't think you ever have to apologize for that, Morgan. Like, I just don't think you ever have to apologize for whatever kind of life you want to live. If you want to upgrade your knives, you want to send Adam to a game trip, and you want to know something, you do have, it doesn't just happen. That stuff doesn't just happen without intentionality. And so you sharing that allowed someone else to dream bigger. So my question to all of you is, where do you need to upgrade in your life? Is it a car? Is it a knife set? Is it your throw pillows? Is it new bedding? I'm trying to get new bras, okay? I'm done weaning. I'm waiting till it's all dried up. And then I'm like, no leaking. I just want new bras that have no stains on them. And I'm leveling up. You know, like, where do you want to upgrade in your life? I'm kind of worried about what they're going to look like. You know what I'm saying? Just like, okay, that's a little TMI. All right, Danielle's next. And I love Danielle. Danielle, go ahead and take it away.
Okay, so I have to go off of Morgan, and no matter how many times I get on these calls, I'm still shaking. So that will never go away, and I just have to own up to that one. But I have to tell you that this team has completely changed my life. And what I'm about to say, you may have heard in 3 different ways today. But as Turner reminded me, and Morgan, the way I'm saying it may hit home to you a little bit different than someone else did. So own your story. Own your story, because your story is individual to you. There are so many people on this team, and as other people have said, it's so easy at times to see this person hitting all these goals that you really want. But instead of that, you know, making you turn inward and say, I can't do it because she's doing it. No, she did it means you can do it even more. And you can go above and beyond, knowing that she's probably going to be saying they're seeing you leveling up, knowing she can do it too. And that's what it was for me. So a little bit of my backstory is I tried every diet. I tried every workout, Pinterest. I tried the gym. None of it was working. I had bod for 2 years, super inconsistent. I would try a new program. I would do it for 2 weeks. I'd quit. What was missing? The team. This team, and seeing moms, full-time workers, part-time workers, stay at home, students like Turner, like seeing all this aspect, crushing it, day in and day out, filling each other's cup, reminding each other to get their PD in, reminding each other to get their sweaty selfie in. Like, I have so many people on the team that I see that are so afraid to share their story, share that sweaty selfie. Like girls on my team who I check in with often, and they say, I'm crushing it behind the scenes. And I just want them to understand, like, if you're crushing it now, like if you would just share just a tiny piece of you and be vulnerable, you could just like blow up. Like your life can change in so many aspects. And it doesn't have to be you have to earn an income. It doesn't have to be that you have to share all over social media. That's the best part about this team, is we get to be in this group who, you know, only coaches and challengers get to be in this group. We get to be this tight-knit group, and there's just so much variety of the team, and it's just completely changed my life. And kind of going off of like with Lacey was talking about with her husband, one of the best parts of this is hearing my husband talk to his friends about this. And a lot of the stuff may not make sense what he's trying to say to me. Like, I know what he's trying to get at. But like, that's such an amazing feeling. But know that not everyone in your life is going to feel that way. I've had some family members who have tried to bring me down because they see me leveling up and they don't see themselves leveling up. And that hurts on their side because I'm pointing out the weak parts of their life. But also, I can't stop. Them telling me that is great. Thank you for sharing. And that took me a long time of leaning into my crew to remind me that I need to level up for them so that one day when they're ready, they can do this with me. So anyways, that's all I got.
So good. I just love that, like, you thought it was just the workouts, and then it was just like the community is the constant. They're my constant reminder. I don't have to do life alone. They're my constant reminder that I can work through a hard season. It's a constant reminder that it's okay to be happy. It's a constant reminder that healthy is the goal. It's a constant reminder, right? Like, that I didn't know I had dreams that I had. We love you, Danielle. So good. Morgan Brill, you're up, my friend.
Hey, thanks. My goodness, it's hard to follow up on everybody because I feel like my topic, I just want to keep expounding off of what everyone says, and it's just so wonderful. But the thing that came to my mind when I was thinking about what to talk about is transformation. And I think there's a few unique things that we forget about the word transformation because we use it so often. Another word we use really often is goals, right? Like set goals, have goals, be working towards something. And goals, we forget, are static. It's the process that gets us there that makes the goals worth it, right? So I love the word transformation because we transform on this team in so many different ways. We transform physically, we transform mentally, we transform spiritually, we transform financially. We lose the weight in our mind first, our bodies change. Like there's just so much transformation. And I think we forget that that word transformation is dynamic. Like transformation is that process that gets you there. It's not like setting the goal that gets you there. It's all the stuff in between. So depending on what you want, why you're here, why you're happy and fit and you desire that, what's your transformation? Like we've all transformed in so many different ways, but let's not forget that once we've transformed, there's another place in our life that we can transform, another goal that we've set that we can use that word transformation that propels us to that goal. But it's the process. It's the process. And it's something that it happens by you being plugged in. It happens by you leaning into this team. It happens by you tracking. It happens by you using 13 tips to get through this pandemic. Like, what transformation do you want right now? And I think that that applies to all the leaders that have talked before me. Like this kind of connects it all together is how can you use what they've said and transform to hit that goal, that process. And if you're not clear right now on where you want to transform, can you decide that today based on how inspired you feel and who you've connected with most that's been speaking the last hour, right? Like, where can I plug into this team? Where can I set that goal that now this is what I need to do daily to find that transformation in those inches, in those small milestones? So I think really, like, if you're feeling stuck anywhere, think about that word transform. Think about that word because it doesn't just, it's not setting the goal that's a mile in the distance. Transform is the thing that you're going to go out and do now. It's that thing that's going to get you to that place. And that's going to re-engage you and light your fire again. And I don't know about you guys, but that word transform to me, it popped in my head first because it's just something that I feel butterflies in my stomach when I say it. Like, okay, where am I going to transform next? What am I going to transform? Like, that word just pulls those nerves wherever it is. And it gets me thinking and it gets me engaged, active, fired up. When I think about transforming my business, part of transforming my business is inviting. But if you just say my goal is to invite, like, well, I can skip that easily. But if I'm transforming my business by inviting, there's a different conviction in that, right? Like if I want to find financial transformation, I'm going to transform my finances by inviting, by growing my team. So I really like to use that word, and I felt like that would be something impactful that I could remind you of today. That again, you know, transformation is something we talk about all the time. Hashtag Transformation Tuesday, right? Like we post side by sides all the time. But sometimes that physical transformation isn't necessarily the most convicting. It's all the things that you've been able to do along the way. So don't forget to share that part of your story and make that story real. And one last thing about transformation I want to share is that, actually two. I could probably share 12 more things, but no transformation is too small. And it's all part of your story, right? So like the $30 or $35 that, you know, Morgan talked about or Lacey talked about, like that is not too small. That is part of the bigger transformation. That was just the first steps of the bigger goal, right? We think about physical transformations. Maybe I was a coach that came into coaching without a physical transformation. Like I thought I needed a physical transformation. I did not. Now in this season of my life, when I'm growing and pregnant and then thinking about postpartum, like there's a physical transformation. But there are so many different seasons that you go through where you're seeking different transformation. So don't forget that any transformation matters, and sharing those transformations, those are the things that are vulnerable that people connect with you on because they want those things too. Right? Okay. So I could keep going, but.
So good. I love that. That's something I'm going to think about too, is like, where do you want to transform? And I just love this journey and the way you articulate it, and you're amazing. Before we have our last two, Kim, can you break down real fast what's going to happen next once we're done with Kara and Sherry?
Yeah, so in about 9 minutes, the corporate one's gonna, and I might actually jump off here and try to get on that because there's only 10,000 spots on the Zoom line for Beachbody for the first part, the actual Super Saturday part, and then there's a second one that is bod groups. So the first one, I'm gonna try to get in and stream it into the team page.
So we'll just wait in the team page.
Yep, and then Trin is also trying to do so in Team Rockstar Fit.
Okay.
So we'll try to tag people wherever that might be. But there's the link in the back office too. You can try to get on the Beachbody Zoom, but we're not really sure how many people are actually going to get on. So I'm going to try to get on, go live in the team page so it streams there. And if all technology fails and we can't get into it, there will be a link in the Coach Online office as soon as it's over.
Sweet.
The second one is the bod groups, and that does not have a cap on it. And I believe that link is also in the coach office, but
sweet, thanks. What I'm planning to do is listen or hear from Sherry and Kara, and then once we're done, I'm just going to go wait in the team page and see if Kim is able to share it, and that's going to be my plan of action through this. So thanks for sharing that, Kim, and thank you, Morgan. Sherry, by the way, and Kara's going to go right after Sherry, they are in 4-star qual right now, which is so awesome and super cool that those two get to end us. So go ahead, Sherry.
Okay, so I chose when we were talking about what to do, I chose non-scale victories because I think that a lot of us, when we first start, we might have a scale victory, and then like if you look, like I've been in this for 4 years, and more recently, like I'm not looking at a scale victory, but I'm also not quitting this journey because I don't want a scale victory. And so I try to remind my coaches as well as my challengers that non-scale victories are way more important too than just those scale victories. And I know a lot of people always go back to what's the scale say, but that, that's just a small piece of it. And there's so many things like sleep and stress and all that play into, weight loss that like just can overwhelm people. And so when I think about my journey, and Kara reminds me of this all the time, is probably more of my transformation that's been non-scale. And it comes down to this team. I've always been a team person. I danced, I played AAU sports, I did sports in high school, I served with the volleyball team in college. And so when I went back to home to start my job, my first teaching job, I was missing that team, that component. And I was trying to work out on my own, but I was exhausted, tired, overworked, trying to figure out how to live in my parents' house and still be me. And so I would paid a ton of money for gym and personal trainer, and it was not working. And so Kara reached out to me and asked me if I would try this, and I jumped on it. And I can tell you that, like, because of this team and being with everybody, I have gained a ton of confidence. And so my confidence, like, I'm actually posting. I probably would have never posted in my life before. On social media, especially about like downs and ups. Like, I reached out to Amber, who's one of my PS coaches this week, and I told her about all the stress I'm going through. And she's like, yeah, I could tell something was different with you and that you were kind of closing up and, you know, withdrawing. And she's like, you just need to lean into the team. And that kind of reminded me of like how much this team has done for me. And so it's given me confidence. It's given me mental strength. I would have given up. Like, when I was going through some life decisions this last couple weeks, I would have given up. I would have just said, I'm done, I can't do it, and just ended everything. Yet this team and moving my body and taking care of myself has allowed me to push through that. Obviously, I've gained physical strength as well, but my mindset has definitely changed, which has let me be an overcomer. And Kara always tells me how much of an overcomer I am. When I joined, I started with Shaco, found out my body wasn't doing well with it because it had fructose in it, which I am fructose intolerant, so that didn't work. And through all that, she did not give up on me. And eventually the new formula came out, and now I can implement Shaco into myself. As soon as I could start doing Shaco again, I got in a really bad car accident that took me out of any fitness, any volleyball, sand volleyball, everything I loved to do for over a year and about 3 months. And during that, I never gave up. I focused on nutrition and I focused on my mindset, and I stayed plugged into the team. And obviously, I'm not giving up during this pandemic when my teaching career is kind of on a halt and I'm trying to teach online classes that I've never taught before. And so that, you know, everything through all of this, I'm still going through the team. And so I contribute, and I really want to talk about how the team has contributed to my non-scale victories, which are way more important to me than any weight loss could have been, and are honestly the reason I'm still here, because I don't really have weight loss goals right now. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. So,
Sherry, you are a beautiful person. I just want to say, like, you are just a beautiful person, and thank you for sharing all of that. Like, and Kara, what the heck? You are like a top-notch coach where I'm like, you just see potential in people and you just see the light in them, and you are just so encouraging and intentional with your words. And Sherry and Kara, I'm just so happy you two like get to do this together. Thank you for sharing. Let's end it with Kara, who is in 4-star qual with her crew, who's amazing, and I love her.
Okay, I was excited and nervous at the same time to be ending this call, and at the same time to go after Sherry, like, just made me super, super emotional. So I'm gonna try to keep it together. Okay, so I was not on the list because my life has been hectic and crazy. Personal life, home life, manager life of an essential business, 2 small hooligans taking over our house. So I wanted to talk to you guys about the Kara before the Kara now. So Julianne talks a lot about that she was couch to coach, and I like to talk about myself as from burnout to breakthrough. And this has been, you guys know me, you know I'm a super goal-oriented person. Like, I love my numbers, I love the back office, I love the financial plan that Beachbody offers, and I love the progression of seeing people talk about their goals and manifest them, and to Morgan's point, like, lay out the process. And so I have a few tips that I want to talk about is how I manifested my life from a burnout yo-yo fitness junkie. It's great to be a goal setter, but I was burnt out from goal setting. So that's, I think when I look back at my journey,
and what's happening in my life right now, I think about, first of all, my biggest transformation is I know what's happening now is happening for me versus happening to me. And just like it's that choice, it's that choose again. It's not happening to me, it's happening for me. And so I'm not going to get all into like what's happening in my life right now, but I'm going to get into solutions, and hopefully you can really see how this can be applied to your life, because they are general, and you know, you probably have examples to this. So the changes that happen for me to go from burnout to breakthrough. Number one, I have a vision. Okay. Before I had goals are for sprinters. That's great. This is a long-term marathon business. Sprinters don't win marathons. Even my best friend, Kristen McNeese, she freaking dominates her marathons, and she's a sprinter at heart, and she knows when to sprint during her marathon. So as you cast your vision, all right, know that your vision is not tomorrow. Your vision's not in 5 months. It can all be part of your vision. But have a marathon vision with short-term mile markers. So be looking at where you need to sprint in your vision and where you really need to kind of settle in and see if something works or not. Don't be this is one mistake I made as a coach when I first started, is I was always hopping onto what other people were doing, and I wasn't looking inward, and I wasn't looking at my team to see what actually they needed and what would mean the most in my life at that point. Speaking to Liz Colburn, her chapters, I have a 2.5-year-old and a 5-year-old at home, both boys. So we have a circus every single day at our house. Okay, number two, we're all doing this. Surround yourself with those that are doing the things you like better than you. So making sure that you're not spending your time with people who you wouldn't switch lives with. All right, you need to make sure that you're making time for those solution-oriented people. And I'll be totally honest, I wasn't like, I put this together in like probably 15 minutes this morning after Julianne and Kim were like, congrats, we're on week 4. Hey, by the way, do you want to speak this morning? And I'm like, no, I really don't, because I really don't know what to talk about. But Kim's like, you are in the middle of a hot mess right now. Like, you need to talk about this. So instead of talking about my problems, I'm talking about the solution. Okay, number 3. Dang it, guys. I would not be where I am without my success partner. I know that there are things that, you know, some people do this business so differently and are successful at it, but I just want to encourage you that it's okay to link arms with somebody else who is going where you're going, and to be there, that if you can't gut check yourself, you have somebody that you love and trust to gut check yourself. Okay, it's also the people that can really see when things are working well for you, the things that you can't see. So get yourself a success partner if it speaks to you. Okay. Number 4, your goals don't define you, the life you live does. So we're in 4-star qual. I'm really excited about that. The burnt out girl from 5 years ago, she would have been all in this just for the rank, because that was who she defined herself as. When I think about 4-star qual now, I think about Chris and I leading our 5:30 calls together. I think about, you know, Sherry the overcomer. I think about Steph. I think about Amanda. I think about how my husband has totally transformed himself and is actually learning more things about the business, and he's one of my diamonds as well. P.S. So if compliance calls him, he can actually answer questions about it. Number 5, get as much of a routine as you can. Maybe it's not the same time every day, but you do have your non-negotiables. So you have your personal self-care non-negotiables, and you have your business non-negotiables. So making sure those are part of your everyday routine, okay? If you need to get them done at 11 p.m. at night before you go to bed, Kristen is awesome at this. She's like, hey, I sent 10 invites out just at 10:59. What did you do? Again, great at gut checking. And number 6, again, this is a marathon, right? Lauren spoke to this. You're going to have ups and you're going to have downs. You're going to have times where people invite you to things that you don't want to do. Lean into it and do it. And along the line, because this is a marathon, because you're going to have ups and downs, look for the joy in it always. and then I'll leave you with this, is like burnout is a choice, and so is your breakthrough. Okay, maybe that was 5 minutes.
Are you kidding me right now? You so good. Burnout is a choice, but also is a breakthrough. So good. And I just love like your goals don't define you, but how you live your life is. And I just think that this business can help you continue to define the best kind of life. And when Morgan Schaefer is just talking about like, I don't want to stress about buying a humidifier. What's your humidifier? What's your humidifier? You know what I mean? Kara, you're amazing, and thanks for saying yes to this because we needed your voice. You all are amazing. I'm gonna hit end